All right, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the
and
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
And God save the Queen.
Now, let's say that we're here.
All right.
So, I know Susan said she couldn't come. She's up in North Jersey with the kids and can't Zoom from there because this apparently is a busy time of day. So that's that. But hopefully we'll get some other people signing in. Did you find anybody else, Rich, that might
Yeah,
be
I didn't see anybody else that I missed on it.
okay.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I'm not comparing it to the club meeting, but let me see here. Yeah, I got it to Gary just a couple seconds ago. But those are the people. Who am I missing? I've got Adam. I've got Brett, Dan Padden. I didn't have Tommy. I did send his. Who else am I missing? I know I'm missing. Who's the other CPA? I'm missing
Kevin.
I'm missing Kevin. Let's see. Kevin Freena. There's that one.
There's Tommy.
Tommy's here. Hey, Tommy.
Who else am I missing?
How about Tommy? You got him on your list?
I just added him in. I'm going to add Kevin Freena in too. Kevin.
Did you have Patton on the list?
Padden's there. Yeah.
About the guy from Elmer's.
What about
Yeah.
Brett?
I do have Elmer's on there.
What about Brett Ledman?
Brett's on there. Here, I just recreated my Rotary list. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, Paul, Kevin. Yeah, I think we've got everybody, but Brett's not on, Kevin's not on, and that might be my fault. He didn't get the email early enough. But that should be the only ones I'm missing. Adam Cox is not on. I've got his email sent. And we should be good.
Okay, hopefully they catch up with us.
Yep.
So, the stranger you see among us is Mike Buca. Hi, Mike. Thank you
Morning,
so much
everybody.
for joining us. David, I think you probably better qualified to introduce Mike than I am, although we've crossed paths many times ourselves.
Oh boy, that would take the whole meeting time because Mike is one of my heroes. Mike is professionally, he actually has a pretty cool job, at least when sports teams are allowed to play, because Mike is a cameraman, a TV cameraman for Major League Baseball and for the National Hockey League. So he gets to get the really good seats at every game, including the World Series, and it doesn't cost him a nickel to get in. So he's a good person to get to know. And so he's gone through kind of a tough time these last couple of months with no games. So hopefully today he's got a meeting up there with NBC or
the league baseball's actually doing a meeting for the employees today to see what's going on with the new season. Yeah,
to get that going. But Rotary wise, he's really one of my heroes. There was nobody that was a stronger helper by my side in the 2 years I was district governor, because he doesn't know the meaning of the word no. Mike is, I think, were you a founding member of your club?
Oh, no. My club's been around 40 some years now. Actually, this is the 40th year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's not that old, but he is certainly a key member of his Rotary Club down in Toms River, and is just, the year he was president, you saw explosive growth, and he's an absolute guru on social media. Has actually his own company called Insanely Social. But Mike is also a person who not only is just awesome at inviting new people to Rotary, at helping to grow Rotary membership at the club level, but at public image. And if you look at his own club's websites and their social media outreach, you can see one of the reasons they've grown so much. So Chris thought that it would be absolutely perfect as we start the new Rotary year to learn from the best with some ideas on how we could establish our club, Medford Sunrise, as more of a presence through enhancing our public image. So that being said, you don't want to hear from me, you want to hear from Mike. So Mike, thank you so much for getting up early and joining us today.
You are quite welcome, and thank you for. It was an easy ride to Medford this morning. I got 70. It was really quick today. So if I may, I'm going to ask if I could share my screen here because I do have the PowerPoint from the District Training Assembly that I'm going to, well, a different one, I should say. So can everyone see my PowerPoint there? And if I start it, everyone see that full screen? All right, very good. So good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Buca, as Dave mentioned. I am the, I've just, and this is breaking news, David may not know yet, but I've just recently agreed to become back onto the District Public Image Committee under Jackie Baroque. Back to my old the role that one of the roles I served under Dave's year as District Governor. So I'm excited to do that again. But I've set up the abbreviated version of the District Training Assembly slide deck because we did it for over an hour. I'm not going to bore you this morning with that long of a presentation, I promise. So as David mentioned, yes, my involvement has always been mostly with digital marketing, but however, in my Rotary tenure, there's some other aspects to Rotary public image that I'm going to talk about today, especially about creating the culture in your club to get public image done. And I'm going to specifically talk about how essentially everybody in their club is going to be a part of a team, the public image team, but you're going to have some people that are going to be central to that, okay? So the first thing first and foremost we're talking about is your club's brand, okay, or Rotary's brand, okay? Because public image is marketing and it's all these things, but we're talking about brand, okay? What do people think when they see the Rotary wheel? What do people think when they hear of the Medford Sunrise Rotary? What do they think about it? We're going to talk about a lot of these details, okay? So the first step is appointing a team, okay? And we're going to talk about a public image chair, committee, if you have enough members that are interested, or if, just have one person, and talking about the different ways you can put a team together. Looking at your current club's digital presence, auditing it, seeing what people already know and see about your club today. Creating a consistent message, and we'll talk about how to do that and how to keep something interesting for people. Showing members in your club, all the club members, how to be ambassadors, okay? And we'll talk about how everyone can really get the word out pretty easily, okay, and pretty regularly without having to break too much of a sweat, believe it or not. And then lastly, I want to talk about the impacts of COVID-19 and really how our clubs are going to be adapting to that in terms of how we're going to get our messaging out, because some things have changed in terms of what we can do and where we can go. So the first thing I want to talk about is creating the team. How do you create your team? First, foremost, you need a public image chair. Do you guys have a public image chair? Do you guys have a public image person that's dedicated to that function?
Susan was, right?
Not yet, but it's one of my plans.
Okay, so that's something, even if you don't have enough people interested or size-wise to have a committee, definitely a chair, because at least there's one person who's going to focus on those tasks. In other words, they make that their mission for the Rotary year, and that's something that, again, it's what they're going to worry about for the 12 months, and that is helpful just to keep everyone on task with it, because it is, and I say it's laying out concrete responsibilities. Who's going to take the pictures? Who's going to make sure that the Facebook page is updated? Who's going to update the website? Who's making sure there's an email going out to everybody for a newsletter? All of the things that you might want to do in your club, you've got to have someone to do it. And a part of that process is just making sure there are people that are, one, willing to volunteer. Okay, that's number one. But two, that that can keep you, not only themselves, but the club on task with doing that. And I'll explain some of those steps that you can do and what a public image chair can do to keep that train moving, okay? Also, if you don't have someone in your club that has any public image experience, what a great way to think about getting a new member, recruiting a new member in the marketing field. Maybe there's a marketing person in your area, Medford, right, that would be interested in joining Rotary. And it might actually be a good, thought process to seek out people in that field to bring someone in to help with your club's public image. So using that, that idea of building this team to go out and find a new member as almost a rallying call that, hey, we really should find a marketing person to come to our club. That's a good idea to do that. And then finally, public image isn't just at the meetings. And then I'm going to talk about how even though you have a meeting from 8 to whatever time, or you have events, public image is all year round. And it's all week round, month round. So that's something that to keep in mind as you build your team and you get people involved in the process. So the chair, what does a public image chair do? What does this person do if you appoint somebody? Well, they're going to develop a plan, okay, and they're going to set achievable goals, okay, and that's the key. Setting achievable goals to promote the club, that you could have some kind of tangible thing. We're going to update the Facebook page twice a week. We're going to make sure our website always has at least content that's not more than 2 weeks old. We're going to make sure that we give our business cards or newsletters out to X amount of people. Those are concrete goals that you can set. Okay. The person also promotes club activities and projects to media outlets, Facebook events, members of the community. Your public image chair is your chief marketing officer. Okay. If you're in a private company, your CMO, that person is going to make sure that the things that you're doing gets noticed by people. Okay. They can use the resources in the brand center, which I'm going to talk about in this presentation. They make sure club communications follow Rotary's guidelines. You're not making up your own little Rotary wheel, which I'll show you how not to do that. And then attending public image seminars and being a part of the district team as well, and learning on a constant basis. So one of the questions you should ask today is, what do people think about our club? Okay, what do people think about the Medford Sunrise Rotary? When you Google search your club, what comes up? Okay, if I Google search Medford Sunrise Rotary, what are the things that come up on Google? You want to search the search area, you want to search the news area. What comes up? If it's your events, great. Well, that's a big part of your club. But if it's some article from 2001 or 15 years, 20 years ago about people that aren't in the club anymore, or people maybe you want to start putting out new content to update and freshen it up. Same thing with social media. Now, you guys have a very nice logo, by the way, on your Facebook page. Whoever made that logo for Medford Sunrise, very, very nice, beautiful. I love the graphics. I love your Facebook page, actually. Very nicely done. But doing an audit of social media is the same thing. Searching on Facebook, Twitter, and or Instagram to see if anyone's mentioned your club. Has anyone talked about your club? Are there any posts out there about your club? And then finally, asking someone in your community who has never heard of Rotary before. And this is a fun slide because understanding of Rotary is low. And can you guys see the right side of this with all the faces there? I don't know if you guys can. Is that blocking? I just wanted to make sure it wasn't. It is on my screen. But understanding is low. 60% of people surveyed did not know what Rotary was at all. Okay, but the people that do have lots of different ideas of what they think Rotary is. And these are some of the ideas on the screen here. And for those of you that might be on the phone, I'll read them. Rotary clubs, what do they think when they hear the term Rotary or Rotary Club? A phone, Rotary phone, I've heard that one. A meeting of company presidents, an international club with vaccination programs, a secret society, I've gotten that one. It's a nonprofit with branches in main cities around the world. It's a bunch of guys meeting, having lunch, and singing. Hear that one probably 3 times out of 10. And I have no idea, which is another one I hear a lot too. So these are some preconceptions of Rotary as a whole, but there also may be preconceptions of your club. You don't know, good or bad, and that's kind of what you want to figure out if you have a public image chair, is that person looks and says, what does this community think about our club? What do they think of Rotary? What do they think when they hear it? Okay. So in that process, you're going to determine who is your audience. Okay. You guys are the morning club. Well, who is the audience, or who is an audience that be interested in the things that you do and maybe attending or coming to your meetings? Okay. What is the makeup of your community? You have a lot of business professionals. You have young professionals. You have a lot of commuters. You have a lot of families. Do you have a lot of people who are, traveling to Philadelphia and they're leaving, in the morning? Do you have people that are, what is the makeup of your community? Toms River, where I'm from, is a lot of senior citizens. We have a lot of senior communities. So we tend to attract a lot of recent retirees to our club. That is something we get a lot of interest with. So that's someone we talk to a lot, because that particular group for us, for my club, has really resonated with Rotary's mission, and they have the time. So our president, who just started today, George Hanna, he's a recent retiree. He retired 4 years ago when he joined, and now he's going to be president of the club. So that's a marketing message we try to get to that group a lot. So determining who your community is really important. The same thing with your current appeal. There are a lot of people who like morning meetings. I'm more of a lunch person, but that's just my preference. But determining what types of folks would like your the time that you meet, where you meet, how you do it, and again, being on Zoom, we're all the same these days. But determining your what's so special about your club and talking about what makes your club great. As I mentioned before, messaging and advertising to targeted demographics. Again, who's going to resonate with your message? And then finally, utilizing feedback vigorously. You hear things from people, and maybe it's not what you want to hear. Maybe you hear something you don't want to hear, and maybe your impression is like la la la. God, I don't want to hear that. But opening your ears and just letting it sink in and reacting to it is helpful. Okay, creating your brand. A brand should be centered around action. What do you do? What does your club do? What is the output? Okay, a results-based message. Focusing on a results-based message. Photos and videos of the things you're doing is key. It's vital. Okay, whenever you're doing a service project, whenever you're doing an event, whenever you guys are meeting, you're having an interesting guest speaker. Unlike me, I'm boring. Then you should at least try your best to share photos or videos of those events. Visual works, okay, on digital and other places, but anywhere you look, pictures work well. Keeping it local. We do a lot of international stuff, which is wonderful. However, keeping the local angle of that. I know, for example, David has gone on the polio missions, okay, but the messaging there should be, of course, it's about David as a member of Medford, the Medford community, doing this wonderful thing, okay? Keeping things local and keeping things in the community. What's happening in my backyard? What people want to know what's happening on my street and in my town. That's really important to your messaging. Not to say not to share anything about the international things we do, of course, but a lot of people resonate with a local message. And finally, spreading the word, but not too thin. And in the assembly, I did a poll of how many people thought you should be on every single platform you can. And the answer is you shouldn't be. You should only be on 1, 2, or maybe 3 if you have the time for it. Because you don't want to spread yourself too thin and you don't have the time to update 6 sites, okay? All right, so how does social media work? That's the big question, right? So I'm actually going to skip a little bit there so not bore everybody, but social media works on a multiplier effect. One person creates a post, they go to see the people that follow your page, people share that, whether it be club members or other people, and all of a sudden, the more gets out there because of Facebook's thing called algorithm, where it lets people, it propagates through their system. That's how social media works, okay? Platforms that you can be on that do these kinds of things, well, obviously Facebook. You guys have a Facebook page. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. Sure, there's lots. But as I mentioned, you want to pick the ones that are going to have the highest return on investment, okay? My recommendation to Rotary clubs is you do a website, a Facebook, and if you have the time, an Instagram. Those are the 3. If you get into LinkedIn, that's fine on a personal level, or a club page is fine, but that's not an easy way to propagate content. Twitter requires a lot of time. So if you've got someone who wants to do social media all week, more the merrier, but Twitter takes a lot of time. So I wouldn't recommend it for a club that's only going to have the time to maybe do a few posts a week, okay? You really want to do Facebook as your primary, and then Instagram as a second, and then of course a website, which is really important, okay? Ways to use social media: engaging non-members, people who might want to join, sharing timely information with updates. Again, you want to keep it as fresh as you can, as fresh as possible, and then inviting other people to join the conversation so you can get them interested in your club, okay? Now, do you ever take a photo like this? I know my club does, okay? I've done it all the time, in front of the banner, in front of the big check. This is a photo that is seen so many times by so many different people, so many places. It's just visually, it's just people go right past, they scroll right past it, okay? Photos should be of people's faces, okay? And action, doing things. So for example, I'm sure your club has given away a big check to someone, right? The photo that maybe you can grab is what the check is actually doing or actually accomplished, okay? What do I mean? So for example, we gave a check, this is years ago, to the Ocean County YMCA for their sports program. And of course, we took a picture with, Pete, the executive director, with our big check, but whatever. But it bought all these basketballs and stuff. The photo that we ended up taking a while later was our members around all the sports equipment that it actually purchased. It was a tangible thing. So if you can, take photos of the action that your club is performing versus the, like I said, the big check in front of the banner. It's easier to do that. It's a little harder to do this, but it's more visually it gives you more of an oomph to your club. Okay. Now, Rotary also offers a lot of resources on My Rotary, and hopefully a lot of you have My Rotary accounts anyway, because there's tons of resources on Rotary's website. A ton. And one of them is called the Brand Center. Okay. And the Brand Center is where you can get some materials if you want to make up some lots of different things. I see you guys already have a custom logo, which, by the way, I love. I think it's beautiful. I've seen the banner that David and others have carted around to different events. That you have that big vertical banner, which I love. You guys have a very nice one. But you can create a club logo on the Brand Center. If you wanted to change it using Rotary stylized guide. Okay, Rotary Club of Medford Sunrise. You can make that very easily. It comes as a PNG file, so you can put it on anything, on envelopes, on anything you want. Okay, give it to a printer and they can also easily put things on there. Rotary's Brand Center also offers things like creating your own promotional resources, your own brochure, for example. If you want to have a physical brochure, when we do start seeing people again in person, you can easily hand it out. Promotional resources like what's called a step and repeat, which is a big, banner behind you where you can, I think May Montag, our new district governor, has one of them where you can like take pictures in front of with your club logo and stuff. But there's a lot of these materials in the Brand Center that you can download and easily put together for a printer to print out. Okay. Now, one of the other things too, if you want to have a little bit of a narrative too, to talk about Rotary itself, is Rotary's People of Action campaign. This is something that's available in the Brand Center. It's available easily to put on your site, but it's also their main public image look. If you want to talk about Rotary as a larger organization beyond your club. Okay, so People of Action, again, the messaging, the consistent messaging is about solving problems and taking action to do those, to solve those problems. Okay, that's what Rotary does. Okay, again, those resources for that campaign, photos, videos, banners for your, if you want to update your Facebook page or your Instagram account, you can certainly do so on the Brand Center as well. Okay, and again, these are some of the words that are available to kind of again bring those messages of Rotary home. And they're again, these are the ideas that we are indeed people of action. All right, so last couple of slides here. What's news? Okay, what is newsworthy? Okay, what should you be posting? What should you be talking about? Okay, we have the People of Action campaign to talk about Rotary as an international organization, but what can the Medford Sunrise Rotary Club talk about? Okay, member or volunteer accomplishments. Okay, have your members done anything awesome lately? I'm sure they have, even if it's a personal or a professional accomplishment. We had one member, her name was Renee. She owns a Pilates place that was able to kind of reopen under the restrictions. But the Asbury Park Press did a really nice expose on her business and how she adapted it for the COVID world. And we were able to share that on our social media. Got a ton of engagement because we were talking about one of our members and their accomplishment in their business. It wasn't a Rotary accomplishment, but it was an accomplishment. And people like to see that we not only celebrate our club and our accomplishments, but what our members or our volunteers do, okay? Another good thing to talk about is people's direct benefit from Rotary service. Again, I was mentioned before about the YMCA. They saw the check turned into the basketballs, into the equipment. And then other people, we had a project with Northern Ocean Habitat for Humanity where a veteran who had a great story, we talked about the story, and got a ramp built for his home through Habitat. We worked with them. They put us together, and he got a direct benefit from Rotary service. Your impactful projects and events. District grant activities is another good one if you guys do a district grant. Large anniversaries. We have it is our 40th this year, so hopefully we can do something for that given the current climate. We'd love to do an event. All right. And if you guys have ever want to send anything to the media, okay, skip the press release, okay? These folks at these smaller papers especially are busy as heck, and they just if you want to get something published, write the article yourself. That is my advice to that. Writing, articles about things you've done, things you've accomplished, even an annual kind of summary of what you've done is a good idea, okay? To get yourself in the paper, okay? Couple more things about being a public image ambassador. This is an easy thing to do, okay? Because it doesn't require any technical knowledge. It doesn't require you to be a social media expert. It doesn't require any of that. Sharing on social media, sharing on Facebook, a post from your club, easy way to do it. Having your Rotary business cards. I don't know if you guys have any, but they're really an easy, quick way to get the word out about your club. Wearing your Rotary stuff. I have a Rotary shirt on today. I have a club shirt. I have a generic Rotary shirt. I get this stuff all the time at Pets and all these other places. Your elevator speech. Again, talk about Rotary in a short, concise way, from the heart, from your passion about why you love it. And then finally, making personal connections in your club and talking about ways you can share it, okay? And last but not least, emerging from the pandemic, okay? What are we going to do with these Rotary clubs now that we are, even in New Jersey, yesterday, now we can't go back to our restaurants. We can't, at least inside in New Jersey. They rescinded the order for indoor restaurants now. So our plans to possibly go back were shelved. So virtual provides new opportunities. I'll just use me as an example this morning. It might have been a little hard for me today to get out to Medford this morning because I have a 10 o'clock appointment, a client appointment. So I might have had, if I had gotten the call to come to your guest speaker, and I would probably say no because I have to drive there and drive back. So you have the virtual does provide some really cool opportunities. And even as we come out of it and maybe go back to in-person meetings, we should keep your Zoom infrastructure in place because you might be able to get a guest speaker from a place that you would never be able to get a guest speaker from before. I'm certainly a bad example because I could have driven to Medford, but maybe I was from somewhere in Pennsylvania or somewhere else in the country, and I certainly couldn't have made it here in one day. So that's a really good opportunity to keep with virtual and keeping a virtual way of connecting. Your board meetings, your committee meetings, all can be done virtually and save driving and save time for members. Your club events, what are you going to do with them? I'm drawing a blank, and you'll tell me as soon as I'm done what your big event is. And I know I should know what it is. I want to know what it is, and I remember, but I'm trying to remember. But what is your club events going to look like? And we could talk about yours. But how can you move them digitally? Can you put them online? Is it something you can move to video, easily? That's a discussion you can have because some clubs have done that, and in some cases have made more money because they're getting to more people that can physically get somewhere. Driving in a car is a big commitment for a lot of people. And I've learned very quickly, I'm able to do more things and other people are able to do more things because they are essentially not driving all the time. Okay. So club events can be hopefully shifted. And are you able to take donations online? Do you have a mechanism for taking donations? We learned that we didn't. We really had nothing really set up. I mean, we had a couple of them. We had a PayPal account, but that really wasn't easy. So we got a Square account to take donations online for a service project we're doing that we do need donations for. And are you able to do that? So this is a good time to look at your virtual way and can you connect easily with people online? Can they get a hold of your club online easily? Do you have an email address? Things like that. So I'm going to stop yakking here. That's my contact info on the screen. But I'd love to answer any questions if you have any.
Come on, don't be shy.
Have you ever had any success piping in a speaker via Zoom like you mentioned, or
Yes.
is that just an idea?
Nope, it happened yesterday. So we had a shelter box presentation from a member of a Rotary club in Susquehanna Valley, Pennsylvania. So she actually was our speaker yesterday. Definitely wouldn't have gotten her had we not had Zoom.
But everybody was on Zoom already at that point, right? Have you ever tried where everybody's in person and only?
Oh, no, we haven't yet. So here's how I'm planning to do that. It's a great question. What I'm planning to do is we're going to get at Artisans, our restaurant, we have a projector. We're going to hook up our laptop to a projector and make that Zoom call. Okay. Or whoever will dial into the Zoom call. We'll full screen the Zoom, put some speakers so everyone can hear it, and then aim the camera at the table. We also purchased something called a boundary mic, which is a microphone. It looks like it's essentially a conference room table mic that allow the speaker and other people to hear a room full of people versus a directional mic like this. So, and they're cheap. They're like 40, 50, 60 bucks. I mean, they're not expensive. They're USB, you plug them in. So at least the speaker will be able to hear questions remotely. So we haven't done it yet, but that is definitely going to be as soon as we do it. Yeah, that's a great question.
Awesome.
Well,
Do you get a
that's,
lot?
that's cool. It just really opens doors as to the and there's so many good quality speakers out there.
Right.
I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it's a again, you know, the ride or the drive for some people, or just the availability. I mean, again, you know, people might be able to want to come, but they can't make it because they have, like today, I have a 10 o'clock client meeting. So if I'm about 45 to 50 minutes from your club. So if I was going to speak at 8 o'clock and I had to be back here, or I had to be in my next thing at 10, that would be tight. Especially if all it takes is one traffic, you know, problem. So it could be an opportunity for your club. And again, while you're on Zoom or even when you go back, we're looking forward to that. And I don't know about you guys, but we're going to have some hybrid meetings too for a while when we do go back, because some people have said they're probably not going to come back to in-person meetings until there's a vaccine. So we've heard that a couple of times on our club. So.
Yeah, I think we're set up pretty well at the restaurant where we're at. We have a TV that's there, and we can remote connect into the TV from a computer screen.
Oh, that's great.
That's got the speakers already
You
there.
probably need one of those mics though.
A microphone would be a great idea that we could get some sort of
Yeah, if you just search on Amazon or a couple other places for a conference table mic, or it's called a boundary mic, there's a bunch out there that'll pick up a room pretty well. And I think I've been in that. Yeah, I have been in your room a while ago at the pop shop, right? And where it was, yeah. So that's a good sized room for just put the mic somewhere where most people will be able to be heard around a specific area. Yeah, that's the idea. And again, it should work, you know, fairly well. And again, the speaker may not, you know, if you only have one camera that's pointed at a whole room of people, maybe the speaker doesn't see every single person, but every person in that room will definitely see the speaker on the if you have a TV. That's the best. That's the basic case scenario there. Yeah.
Great.
Mike, how do you motivate the other than the, you know, the 2 or 3 most active, most rotarized people in the club? How do you motivate the other Rotarians in the trenches to see themselves as being public image ambassadors?
We shame them. No, no. You know what it is? I've learned this over the years, and this is just experience as opposed to a textbook thing. It's about passion is infectious. So the more people that are doing it, the more people that get on the train. I've learned. You know, you're right. Is every member of my club going to wear a Rotary shirt? No, they're not. But the passion gets infectious. You know, for example, when we go to events now, our club members always wear their shirt. Okay, that's just the way it is, and then that's good because they've gotten used to that, right? So that's easy. But you know, are you going to get a member to wear a Rotary shirt out in public? Maybe, maybe not. But if the more people that are willing to do it, the more people that will be touched by Rotary. You know, and I'll give you a real quick story. I have my computer bag for my laptop is a Rotary bag that I picked up at Pets when I was out in Pennsylvania there, King of Prussia. And I don't know, it was $40, whatever it was. And it's held up really well. It's a really nice laptop bag, but it says Rotary on it. And I met at Major League Baseball. We're based out of Secaucus. I was having a conversation with a coworker who saw the bag, and he said, "Oh," he goes, "What is that Rotary thing?" You know, and we started talking about it. You know, he joined a club up by him up in New York State. So again, even though it's not my club, the conversation gets started when people see your shirt or they see your thing. It's really an easy way to do it because people are naturally curious. So again, you're not going to wear your Rotary shirt to your friend's wedding, but at the same time, you know, wearing your pin is an easy way to do it. A laptop bag, you know, just something that has it on it, you know. It's pretty easy to do. And if nothing else, have Rotary business cards, because I have my company, right? So I have business cards, but some of us are employees, or some of us, you know, I don't have an MLB card. I don't solicit for them. I just work for there. So, you know, having a Rotary business card, these are $10 on Vistaprint for 100 cards. I mean, it's not a lot. So it's an easy way to do that. And if you need help, you know, I have a Vistaprint design if anyone wants it. that you can change out. But this has gotten us members, with the information on the back. It's I want to say it's easy, but it's not. It's just something you just put in the back of your head and you just do when you can.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you, what's your club doing right now? Are they doing Zoom meetings, or are you
Yes.
guys recording them, or what are you doing with them? You guys don't see it on your website.
Yeah, so we are doing Zoom meetings. We have not opened them to the public, meaning on our website we don't put a link or anything like that. On our Facebook page, we will advertise when we have a speaker. The security issues around Zoom, and you guys have probably heard about this. We've been really careful, and you guys are doing the same way. We only put the link in emails. We don't put the link anywhere like that. However, that's what we're doing, and we've been using social media to advertise. People have been bringing guests and forwarding the link when they do, but that's the key. It's the one thing. The drawback of Zoom is that with the security issues, you shouldn't post your link on your website, because anyone can jump in and do God knows what. So that's another thing. And we thought we'd be done by now, to be honest. I thought we'd be done by now. But one of the things that infrastructure wise you can think about is, if you do invite a guest, how do you get the link to them? Do you, who's sending the link to your guest speakers? We had that problem. We've all forgotten to do it or not gotten it to the right person the right way. There are some infrastructure questions. But so far we've been successful with it. Have you guys noticed an uptick in attendance or a downtick? Because we've noticed an uptick.
Even
About the same, when you think.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
It's not always there, but there's at least the same amount of people coming and
We
going.
usually have about 3/4 of the club.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's about us too. If we averaged 18 to 20, because we have 32, now I'm seeing like 22, 23. It seems like we're a little higher.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
because one of our members said, for her, she's a therapist, she would miss meetings a lot in person because she'd have an appointment that ended at 12:15. By the time she got in her car and got to the restaurant, she missed half the meeting, so she just wouldn't go. Now she just hops on the Zoom and she can make the whole thing. So I guess it all depends on everyone's situation. I don't know. Like I said, I've seen a lot of pros and a lot of cons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, even when people are out of town, they can Zoom in if they're on vacation or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
And we have people that when they're driving to work, they throw it up on their phone. Not that that's a great idea, but leaving it on your dashboard or something. But at least you're listening to the meeting or something.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I mean about I've seen the increased participation, because maybe that person who's driving or well, again, you're right, that's not a good idea, but
listening.
Maybe that person who, because they were driving or because they had to go somewhere or do something, would just skip the meeting. They would just I can't make it this week. I got to do something else. I have work or family or whatever. So I think for that perspective, it's good. But, the in-person interaction stuff too is kind of Rotary strength, and that's missing a little bit as much. So, again, there's pros and cons for sure. Again, for us, it's worked. It's getting the job done. We just did our scholarship luncheon 2 meetings ago. That went remarkably well with the kids and the parents jumping on the call. I was surprised. I thought we were going to have a lot more technical issues. We didn't. But then, like I said, it's working differently for everybody. I think we're going to keep it, like I said, for that idea of speakers and really for those other meetings, because, I'm actually the membership chair in my club, believe it or not. And we want to have membership meetings, but we wouldn't do it because, we got to get everyone's schedules together. We got to find a place whose house we're going to go to. It became a little harder. With Zoom, we just get on a call and we can do committee meetings. So it's just something that we're gonna probably keep going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So you said
have you ever considered moving to Medford?
Well, I know the best real estate agent in Medford is on the call. So if I did, I have him on speed dial.
Oh, now you've made Jim Robinson really jealous.
I know. Well, okay. So excuse me. Best real estate agents.
There you go.
The S got locked off there, Jim.
David, he was talking about Jim Robinson.
It was true. That was kind of arrogant of me, wasn't it, to assume who he was talking
It
about.
was you.
I am so sorry. I have to jump off to start my class, but please keep going. And you can see what an absolute dear friend Mike is, and how totally committed he is to Rotary. And so, thank you so much for helping us today. And I'm sorry that I have to jump off. So. I'll do that and leave you to continue. All right. Have a blessed day.
You too, David. Thank you.
Hi, David.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Mike, Jim Robinson, give me your 3 or 4 top service projects that you've observed around, the Rotary world, the really explosive projects that are the best.
Around the whole, okay, interesting. That's a good question. That service projects I felt were the most explosive. Well, no fireworks. That's good. One that I really love. I like the ones that are permanent in some way. I like the ones, believe it or not, I love the ones that where I'll use the habitat example that I just did for our club. And again, I apologize that's mine, but I like service projects that are permanent in nature, meaning it's sustainable. It's going to last a long time. I love environmental projects. Again, I apologize for not thinking anything specifically. I would have made a list there, Jim. That's a good question. But again, also, I think, we do so much and not a lot of people know what we do all the time. And it's hard because you got to remember, someone's got to take the pictures of the event, that you're doing, whatever it may be. Someone's got to take, the video, or someone's got to post it. Remember to do that. It's work. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. It's work. You got to do it's work. It's labor. And, in our club, we have myself, my friend Jessica, and a public image chair, and this woman, Glynis. 3 of us. If one of us isn't at the meeting, the other one make sure we take the pictures. That's just what we do. On Zoom, we've gotten away from it. We do the whole take the picture of the gallery box. But service project wise, the one thing we were able to do while we were still in this mode is we're delivering food right now to agencies that are in need. But let me ask you guys this: are you guys doing anything in person service projects right now while this is going on?
Not really.
No.
We'll run a McDonald's house, but they won't let us in, so we just drop off food there.
Right. And that's it too. Like, indoor stuff is going to be almost impossible. We are going to do an environmental project at our Caddis Island Park, which is a big park here in Ocean County. We're going to be doing that outdoors. Together.
We did our Field of Honor this year over Memorial Day week. We had 220 flags.
I saw that on your website.
In a drive-through situation.
Very nice.
Worked out really well.
Yeah, and that's, again, it is tough right now because you're limited to how much you can do at once. But again, as long as it's about output, that's what I say. Are you hopefully doing something? We still did our scholarship program. We lost one of our events, our Bug Fest event, so we're trying to make that up. Or we have an auction, but we're going to try to see if we can do that virtually. The Barnegat Rotary is doing a virtual Santa run, 5K virtually. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that. So other clubs are innovating. They're trying new things, and this is the time to experiment. And this is the time to try something new. This is the time where, you could throw a dart, and if you hit bullseye, great. If not, it's okay too. Our raffle, for example, we sold it a certain way for 30 some years, and this year we're going to try it different. Because we had to try it different. So we're excited. We're excited to try some new things, because we have to.
Is there a way to do that, like an internet raffle or something like that? Is that what you're thinking too? Because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, you can. It depends on the township. Some have very strict, you can't do stuff online rules. It depends on what it is, but you can do things like a virtual eBay auction. You could do that. That's certainly not against any rules or against a township rule. Another charity I'm involved with, not Rotary, did a virtual art show. They had art that was made by students that was raffled off or essentially auctioned off. They presented them on a Facebook video and then used eBay to collect donations because they had an actual eBay business charity account. So there's definite ways you can do that. You know, and we always mention online that we have a raffle, but, you know, people will either mail a check or they'll send us money that way, but it's got to be you have to have physical tickets on the township ones. Those you got to have physical still.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, there's not like a program that you can go somewhere and buy a ticket and get your number and then.
Yeah, no, not. You know what? There probably is, but I don't know if it's legal or not, because does it go against the state gambling licensing laws? Because that's where you get in trouble, is those, you know. So,
Sure.
but you can say that we're having a raffle online, and you can talk about it, but you can't make it an online only thing. You have to still have the physical tickets, which you can mail. You know, that's not a big deal. We've done that. You know.
Hey, Mike, Jim again. Tell us about Habitat. How does your club do Habitat?
Oh, so our local chapter, we have their club treasurer, or I'm sorry, their treasurer is one of our members. His name is Dick Reed. He's one of my favorite people. He's great. He often will, if there's a project that's coming up, that's Rotary service will be good for. He'll pair us up with them. So we work with their volunteer person. They'll use us as volunteers or a donation towards a particular project. That veterans project, we were able to turn into a news article for the local patch here in Toms River. They ran it. And it was a joint thing with Habitat, and we were both in it and both part of it. And not only was it a good service project, but it was a good public image opportunity. So, but yeah, he was the one who sets it up. If you find a partnership like that, it's great, because then all of a sudden you're getting service projects literally handed to you on a silver platter. I mean, they come to us with stuff all the time. It actually takes a lot of workload off of us to find stuff.
You go there and help build houses.
We have, yes, our members have done that. Yep. Not all of them. Some of them don't. Some of them donate.
I can
that's okay.
imagine that if you're participating in a service project that's not even necessarily for your club, but if you wear your Rotary shirt when you go, that just kind of speaks to this is what Rotarians do.
Right.
To other people who are there. I mean,
Yep.
if one of us, for instance, were to volunteer at Habitat Build and you're wearing a Rotary shirt, that says,
True.
Rotarians are people of action.
That's true.
Right.
They treat us as a group. That they treat us as our own group. So the project that we're usually working on is our project for that day, whatever it is. So when we partner with them, they'll say the Central Ocean Rotary is here today. So they actually are helping us promote as our club, which I love. They're good about that. And they might do it with corporate people. They might do it with, different groups, but they'll use us in that capacity. But again, it's you said, you wear your Rotary shirts, it's easy promotion. Yeah, absolutely. The more you do in your community wearing, or as a Rotarian, the more people are going to know about you. It's just
Absolutely, yeah.
what you can do these days, which is also true.
All right. This was great. We could have gone on for quite a while.
Thank you.
Mike
Thanks
is
for having
also an expert in membership development. So maybe we'll get you back one day and we'll talk about that.
Thanks.
And there are other, next week we have a couple other club things we can come up with that we need to talk about. And we also have a speaker coming. What did I tell you it was?
I think it's on the 8th.
On the 8th? Yeah, that's next week.
Yep.
Well, we have a couple of people lined up. So this is exciting. I'm glad that we were able to do this, and so glad we were able to make you a real get. I appreciate you, you coming in. So
easy commute.
I know we're running out of time, so y'all got work to do. Shall we do the 4-way test? Let's try it again.
It's the
Try our
truth.
best.
The truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Will
Better
friendships
friendships.
will be beneficial to all concerned? Cool. All right.
All right, guys. Have a great
Thanks for
day.
coming, everybody.